is at Heinel. It's also an 1800s French bow. I call her Yvette. It was made by a family called Lamy, a very famous bow making family. It's the middle generation. I've seen the reason I thought it was French is because of the curly Q on the frog. The only other bow that I've seen with that curly Q on the frog was a French bow. And so that's why I thought it might be French. Now the tip of it there, uh, it could have been silver. It could have been gold. It also might have probably been ivory, but it can be pricey. This is a bow. This is a bow that my sister-in-law owns, but she doesn't play anymore. It's worth a couple of grand. It's a German bow, and she doesn't play anymore. So she had it and I was using it, and I got it rehaired once, and when I went to tighten it up, the white part here flew off, and the hair came
Oh.
out. And so I took it back down, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the little wedge thing is let go. They're going to have to redo it. $175." And I had to do it because it's not mine, right? And it's a nice bow. So the thing is about any of these things is when you have them, you got to give them what they need because the next person that picks it up is going to need it. And so I did that. And then on my German bow, they call her my big fat German. That's my all the time bow. This part here, the silver, unwound a couple of rounds, just a couple. I put some black tape on there. I said, better take it down to the boys. They'll stitch it up for me and weld it or something. 200 and some bucks
Oh my gosh.
because they can't, it's silver. This winding is silver. It has to be silver because that's partly how they judge the weight. So the silver adds weight to the bottom of the bow. Every turn adds a predictable amount of weight. So it's one of the ways that they control that. So you can't just pull off a few rounds. It's not going to respond the same. Also, once it comes unraveled, it's kinked. They can't use it again. They got to melt it down and make new wire out of it. So they have to use new silver. So 200 and some bucks for that. That sucked.
So what you're saying is I didn't overpay when I bid $100 to get this bow.
I would say a bow from the 1800s. So that Lamibo that I was talking about, for instance, that I love to borrow at Heinel, she's only a loaner because there's a line in the tip. So the tip was split at one time. If you look close at the bow, not this one, but you can see there's a little piece of black ebony glued in there to keep it all together, right? So they say they can't sell it. So they loan it out and it says L on it. They got several loaners. That one is my favorite all-time bow. And it's everybody's favorite. All the guys have her out all the time, right? So that one there is worth 12,000 bucks. And it's
Oh my
damaged.
gosh.
Okay. So and the reason that it's worth so much is two things. First of all, very prestigious bow making workshop where it came from. The Lamy bow making company was really well known and was like making the best bows around. And also, it's an artifact. It's a piece of history, right? If you keep it in good shape, it's not going to go down in value. And the last part of the price is how much work went into it. Like the more work went into it, the higher the price is in the bow. And it's because the bow maker spends the time with it, testing it, refining it until it really. Sometimes it can take years to get a bow down to what he figures is the best it can be. Now you were talking about the camber on your bow, on your nice French 300s bow, and the camber is getting tired, getting straight. I can see it from here.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, and you can see here's mine, right? And every bow is different. The camber, the way that they put the camber in there, they don't carve it in. They take the stick, and yours is snake wood. That was a very popular hardwood back in the 1800s to use for bows. Extremely hardwood. But this is Pernambuco. So they take it and they heat it over this kind of iron. It looks like a tube with a blowtorch in it, basically. And they heat the stick like this, and then they take their knee, and they literally use their knee, and they go like this until the curve is worked into it. Now the problem is that you ever heard when you first started playing the fiddle, they're like, loosen your bow every time you put it away. And the reason is because if you don't, that camber gets straighter and straighter and straighter, and after a while, it's not a spring anymore. You'd have to redo it. So if you took it to a real good bow maker, he would redo the camber for you.
Oh, and like the person that restored this to me, she was afraid to mess with the camber because she was not an architeur, she was a luthier.
Yeah,
And so
exactly
she
right.
she made it work basically.
Yes.
But she was like, I don't want to mess with the camber. So I've just been
She sounds absolutely correct. I would agree with her 100%. The only person I would trust that to, that I know, is the guy here in Toronto, John. He studied in England for 9 years. He's really awesome at bows. Everybody loves him, and he plays Irish flute.
so I'd probably have to find somebody in the States
I'm sure you will.
because I think this is if this is ivory or bone, even though it's an antique, you probably can't take it out of the country. So
Yeah, yeah, like just like the set of pipes that Ross just bought, 1800s as well, and it's got elephant ivory
well
on it. You won't be taking it out of the country ever.
well, thank you for telling me about this. And sorry, classmates, I didn't mean to be distracting people with my
Are
bow.
you kidding? This is important stuff, man. Bows are like where the rubber meets the road. It's very, and not many people know that. No, nobody. I was surprised to hear about how they did that with the knee, and I never knew why they told you to loosen up the hair every time. And then I learned, there's a guy Pierre Schreier here in Ontario. He's a grand master a couple times, and he's a bow rehairer. And he did a whole tutorial at Algoma Trad Camp one time. He haired a bow in front of us. That was great. It was awesome. And he talked all about that. You know why it's called a frog? Anybody know why it's called a frog? There were many different designs of the frog in the 1800s. Many. But most of them were unsuccessful. There were these kind of curly cube round things. There was one that the hair got held by a marble inside the wood of the frog, and you turn the marble to tighten it like this. This I can't remember the name of the maker. It was a distinctive name. It's on the tip of my tongue. There were all these different types of frogs, but none of them worked very well. This is the one that won out. Okay, and it was like early 1800s, late 1700s, and it was a design made by a French guy. And back in those days, they called the French eaters of frogs. So this is the frog. Isn't that something? Also, I never knew. When you look at your bowings on a piece of music, the down bow is a square staple, and the up bow is a V for victory. So I never knew why. And recently, a violinist told me the down bow is a staple because you start at the square part of the bow. And the up bow is the point because you start at the point of the bow. You see that?
Nice.
Very simple. So anyway, the thing is that you're going to notice when you get that bow recambered, you were talking about how sensitive it is to the touch, right? And certainly that French bow that I played with, also very sensitive to the touch. You have to have a some finesse the way you hold it to actually get a benefit out of it. If somebody who's kind of not been playing that long picked up that bow, they probably couldn't get it to sound good. It is so light, right? And you have to have this kind of delicate kind of thing where you're pushing the bow into the strings gently, because that doesn't like it when you push her.
And
That-
I didn't realize that. I thought something was wrong with the bow. So then when I handed it to my first fiddle teacher, and he's like a state champion
Yeah.
in our area. I mean, he can really play. He sounded amazing on it. I'm like, oh, it's not the bow, it's me.
Yeah, the
And then,
camber, it'll help. That will really help. So when you get that done, if you ever get that done, that'll really help.
and then the rosin helped too, because I was using a cheaper rosin on it, and then I got this Scottish rosin,
Oh, yeah.
and that made a huge difference. So
Yeah,
again,
the cheap stuff that you get in the case, it's no good. It's not rosin. It's just dried tree sap that's gonna be dusty and leave all this dust all over your bow. You need good rosin for sure. And if it's dried out, it's no good anymore.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'll
No
take
problem.
good care of it because I
Yes,
didn't
please
appreciate
do.
it. I thought I didn't like to use it, and I called it the bow of last resort because I would use the $30 Amazon junk bow
Yeah,
before this, not realizing that the issue was I was being really like heavy-handed.
yeah, yeah. And it
Uh,
might be a heavy bow. And that's the other thing. Bows weigh between the lightest bow I've ever played was Yvette. He weighs 59 grams. Okay. This bow, what I call my big fat German, is 63 grams. Like, whoa. So, and you know, you don't think that makes a difference, but when you're playing for a 3 hour dance and you're picking up on 63 grams rather than 59 grams, you start noticing the difference.
yeah, this
Although the lighter bow again has its disadvantages because you have to have the touch just right.
and it's super light, so I have to put it
Is
on
it?
the scale. So, all right, I'll
Well, you
quit
could.
talking
I
about
mean,
the bow.
I love talking about bows, and it's good for your playing to talk about bows and understand. Like, did anybody know it was 59 to 63 grams that you're dealing with in
No.
your hand? These are things that are actually good to think about when you're playing. You know what I mean?
My
Kind of
my
helps you coax the sound a little bit, kind of helps you with everything you're doing, I find. Anyway,
my vin-
speaking of that,
my vintage bow is extremely light. The one that I inherited,
oh
extremely
yeah,
light. But it doesn't play like Yvette. Has a certain balance that plays for you.
it does. You can hold it with a boxing glove and drag it across the strings, and it'll still sound good. And that's the thing also, when people are going to buy a bow, such a daunting process. You don't know how to do it. You don't know what you're looking for. That's the main thing you're looking for is less work. The good bow for you means you got to work as little as possible. And that's why they say it's good to practice on junk when you're starting off. Like I had a fiddle that my dad would have called a shingle, when I was a kid because it was hard to get a good sound out of it. You have to do all this stuff. Same with the bow. When you learn to do that stuff and you get the best sound you can out of this shingle, when you get your real fiddle, oh my God, it's like somebody took the weights off. But you have those skills. See what I mean? So it's a really good thing to do to mess with bows. And for me, it was kind of an advancement of my playing. So I was living in Toronto, playing with my friend Kim, and I worked at a music store, so I was getting these really cheap bows for like $20 and stuff like that from the supplier. And I thought they were all awesome, eh? I remember going down to Kim and like being like, "Oh, check this out, only $20." And he was like, "Oh man." And then he took me down to Heinel and we tried a few. And it was an advancement. After I got the good bow, everything got way better. I put it off for a long time for some reason. So I do. It's a good idea. Good idea to know as much about your bow as you can because it really is the hardest part of playing this damn thing. Okay, now I'm gonna get tuned up. We'll play these tunes. There we go. Oh, it says playing music? That's weird. I never saw it do that before. Okay, now do I have to turn on original sound? Could you guys hear me? Oh, okay, hold on. Dear, 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 dear. Original soundy.
We
Oh,
okay?
so one sec here. Original sound. I had
Oh,
problems with my computer this morning. It
hear
wouldn't
you,
let me
Dan.
log in with my password. Okay. So what are we working on these days there, fiddlers? Anybody remind me what tunes we're working on?
Dan, if you're talking, I can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Back of the change house.
Oh, yeah. No, that was the other one. Yeah, okay, maybe. You can't hear me, David? Everybody else can hear me.
We worked on Earl of Dalhousie's Back of the Change
Can't
House,
hear Lisa.
Jenny Dang the Weaver, and Crossing the Minch. And then we
Oh,
did those D double
Crossing the Minch, yeah.
stops. The D double stops.
woo-hoo! Now that is a set and a half. Okay. Now, David, you're still not hearing me. I wonder why. Everybody else can hear me. Maybe try your output settings or something. Maybe it's...
David, can you hear me? Can you hear us?
No, I can't hear anybody.
Okay.
You must have your sound... Here, I'll type a message to him. Soul tired sound. So my soul is tired, I'll tell you that.
What sound? Your sound?
Your sound.
Really?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
You can hear me. Oh, that's good. Because all I can hear is myself. So it's not going to be much of a lesson if all I can hear is myself.
Well, geez, there must... Hold on. I don't know why I keep talking to him.
I would say he should try to leave and come back, maybe.
Yeah.
If it's a weird Zoom error bug thing.
Okay. Try leaving and coming back. Okay. Anyway, so let's get warmed up while David's messing with that. Here, let's just see if I can.
Okay, I'm going to go out
Yeah.
and come back in. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, that's nice. I am going to have to get new strings at some point, but these still sound good, and so I'm trying to push it. Okay, let's try a D major scale, everybody. Nice D major scale. Ready, go. Okay, I did pretty good. I had a few little sour ones there. Let's try it again. Ready, go. Arpeggio. Okay, that was better for me. We got you back there, David. That's good.
Yes, we do.
Excellent. Okay, let's pick up the pace a little bit, and then we're going to try some double stops. I don't know, my camera's kind of weird today. It's like getting half of me or something. That's better. Okay, picking up the pace a little bit. Ready, 2, 3, and. Okay, mine was good. How you guys feeling? You getting warm? The key of D? Let's try a bit of this here. Because I remember last time we were working on the hand, using the hand to bow. So let's try a little bit of this here. With the double stops, okay? Ready, 2, 3, go. Ooh, that was nice for me. It's like I had the nice bow tension on my hair, and it was just like, and I always talk about this analogy of Tarzan's rope. So when you're bowing with just your hand, it's like Tarzan swinging from tree to tree. See that? And if the rope's too long, then Tarzan's feet dig into the ground. And if the rope is too short, then he just skims the top of the dandelions and falls off, right? So you got to get Tarzan's rope just the right length so that you're kind of swinging back and forth and the dig in is still going to be okay. See what I mean? And that's what I felt like I had going there. Just the right tension, just the right length of rope, and it was all nice and smooth. How did you guys feel about yours? Pretty good? Let's do it again.
Well, I couldn't brag about it to the same extent as you did.
That they're starting to come together a little bit?
Being a humble sort of person,
Yes.
but if you believe that, no, it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, let's try it again. And Lisa's experimenting with her touch with that bow. So, and this will give you a bit of information about that. See how much you got to dig in. Let's try it again. Yep.
I'll be back shortly. I've got to put my daughter's movie on.
No problem, man. It's got to be a better movie than this fiddle music. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Now I'm looking at hands, and it's definitely better this week than it was last week. There's definitely more flippy floppy going on than before. So that's good. Let's do it one more time. One, two, three, go. Feel good? Right on. Okay, let's try this crazy set. So Earl, back at the change house, Jenny Ding the Weaver, and what do you call it there? Crossing the Minch. It's a long set. MSR sets are very often quite long.
We
No,
we
we haven't-
didn't play it. Yeah, we didn't do the last one as part of the set. The
Oh,
last one was a kind of a
yeah.
recommendation for practicing cuts, I think, right?
Oh, well, let's start with that then. Yeah, it's a great exercise for that. So, and we're doing the whole tune? Good. Let's do it. I'll get the copy of it up here just in case. Oh. Let's see here. Crossing. I read a story today about a guy who went from Florida to Barbados on a jet ski. Pretty wild, man. That'd be quite a trip. It was two of them. They must have had a support boat or something like that, but that's quite a trip. That'd be like get boring after a while. Those things are loud. Okay, let's see. How fast should we go? Is that a good cheery, not too fast tempo? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Do it again. again. How's everybody doing? How's the bowing? You getting the up-ups in there most of the time? Okay, let's pick up the pace, shall we? I think I might have had a different version than before. I'm just going to look at this. Page 1 of 2. Oh. Not that I need it. I think I know the tune. Okay, so let's see. How fast should we go? Okay, let's do it. We're doing it twice, so brace yourself. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Did it work? Kinda.
Well, it was a bit fast. It was a
Yeah.
bit fast.
Yeah.
It's faster than I've ever played it. So,
Oh, wow. Did you get it all
you
in?
know, well, I kind of got lost the second time through. I got befuddled a little bit.
Easy to
I
do.
knew what I was supposed to do, but I didn't do it. That was all.
That fourth part, I fell apart every time I hit the fourth part.
Was it bowing?
It was so many of those bowed triplets that I just, I was cracking up because I don't know what I was doing, but I think the speed was too much for me, but I'll keep working on it because the first three parts were okay, but the fourth part, it
Yeah.
fell apart. So.
Well, the thing is about that is that when you practice that fourth part, it's going to improve every cut you ever do for the rest of your life. when you get the bowing right. So make sure you have the bowing right, because that's 9 times out of 10 when people break down in that part is because they're not doing the slurs, and it means you have to do half of the bowed triplets trying to go up. It's like impossible, you know. So make sure you have the bowing right. The other thing with what they call bowed triplets, they're not actually triplets, right? They're 2 16th notes and an eighth note. So you got to put a tail on it. See that? Make the last note of the cut long. Throw it away. And then that'll give you the right timing. So watch. See that? Now another good way to practice cuts, this is what I used to do when I was doing Magic of Ireland. I was bored in the dressing room in England. So I'm going to tell you, once you've been in one of these little council towns in England, you don't really have to go to another one. They're all exactly the same. You can't find coffee at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So you go down the dressing room and you do this. See that? Any key you want, it doesn't really matter. But what you're doing is, you're doing a cut, and then you're doing an up bow return. See that? And then you do the next note. Just like that. You just gotta keep doing them. Let me watch you do it there, Lisa. Well, let me watch you try doing either that or the last part of McNabbs, and I want to see where you are at the bow. Okay, now give me the last part. It's a bowing thing.
Okay.
Here's what I want you to try to do this week
Okay.
when you're practicing this too. Downy uppy. Except after the long notes or after the bowed triplets. Then you do an up up. Everything else, I want you to really try to just do straight downy uppy. One bow per note.
Okay.
Except where you do two notes per bow. You know what I mean?
I'll work on it this
I
week.
think that's going to unlock it for you, because your actual cut is good, but you're not always going the right direction for it.
That's true. And like when I was playing Brenda Stubberts, I was always falling apart because some of them I was going down, some of them I was going up, and then it was like, uh-oh.
Here's how you correct it. Every time you do a cut in 4/4, the next 2 eighth notes you do in an up bow. So Brenda Stubberts is a great example. You see how that works there? If you don't do it that way, it's really hard. Really hard. So that's dig it up, up, down, up, down, up. Dig it up, up, down, up, down, up. Dig it up, down, up, down, up. That's what you need for Brenda Stubberts. You see what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So you get good at that up skill, it's going to unlock that tune, this tune, and every other tune with cuts. Okay? Anybody else want to impart their experience trying to do this goddamn Scottish thing? It's the same tune over and over. 4 parts of the same tune, but it is very good practice.
A question.
Yes.
Question. In the email that I sent you
Yeah.
last, I mentioned doing the longbow version on the last phrase. Is
Yeah.
that-
Oh, yeah. I would. If you
That
can.
seems to work.
Yeah,
it
it
seems to
really
work.
works. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good idea.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it again. One more time. Geez, I heard a pipe band this weekend. My Celtic orchestra played for the Fergus Pipe Band's fundraiser, and I gotta say they were quite good. But what got me was the guy who was leading the band was the bass drummer, which you don't usually see. And he was a great big fella, like a great big made of beef dude. And he didn't even have a harness for the bass drum. Like he'd just be holding it by the rim and pounding on it. And he was quite good. I was really impressed by it. And he did it for the whole, like they played for about 40 minutes and he did that the whole time, just holding that bass drum and pounding on it. And he was leading the band and he was doing it quite successfully. He was going around to the drummers and helping them with their little phrases they were supposed to do, and then on to the next one and on to the next one. And he stood in the center. It was really cool, actually. I thought it was really cool. But anyway, Highland pipe music. Brace yourself. Okay, one more time. Same speed. 1, 2, 3. One more time. Look better. Bows look better that time around. I think you got more of them in that time. Okay. Now let's take a look at this Jenny Dang the Weaver since we're in the mood for reels. Oh yeah, I got it on my desktop. That's right. We'll work backwards through this set. Always good to do. Jenny dang the Weaver. She danged him. He deserved it. He had it coming. The danging. Okay, so we did work on this tune, I'm pretty sure. And so what we're going to do is we're going to do it about 500 times, getting faster every time until everybody on the screen looks really comfy and really just be danging. No problem at all. Okay, so let's start her off not too fast. Kind of like this. One, two, three, go. A little faster. Again. Everybody get along okay at that speed? Well, that's great. Okay. Shall we do the set? Earl of Dalhousie, back in the change house, and Jenny Dang the Weaver. Back in the change house. All right. Okay, so let's see. So we'll go. And then. And then. Okay? Helmets on, guns up. Let's shoot at the Germans. 2 times each. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Woo! How did everyone get along? Thoughts and feelings?
Too bad at all.
Oh, good. That's great. The tempos were okay?
Yeah.
Good. What you're going to do then?
Well, I don't have any page. I don't have any page turns, so it's just I got the Earl on one, and I got Change House and Jenny on the other. So I don't have any. But if we're gonna add, how the Minch stole Christmas onto this,
How the Mitch stole St. Patrick's Day.
then I'm gonna have a bit of a problem because I got to turn a page on that one. So
Well, you know how to turn
but
page. You know the deal about how to turn pages. I mean, you should know. You always turn the page at the end of the tune you're playing, not at the beginning of the next tune. Because if you have to stop and turn the page, this is what I tell the orchestra. If you have to stop and turn the page, do it at the end of the reel that you're playing, because nobody's really going to notice if a little bit of the end of that reel is not there. But they're really going to notice when you come in strong on the next tune at the top. That's the way more important thing. See that?
okay.
Yeah.
So am I the only one who's got a page turn there going into the Minch?
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. Is anybody else got a page turn?
Everybody else might just have it all kind of lined up.
I did a screenshot of both of them together and just worked on it that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, and of course, hopefully next week you don't need any pages at all. And we can just whip through it without looking at anything. That would be the preferable, of course, right?
Okay, is this our homework basically is
Well, if you
trying to
can, of
no, I mean,
course.
is that what you're assigning? I don't want to give you a hard time because you got a cold here, right? Poor babe. So, you know,
I do.
if,
I would love for people to get off the music.
that's our homework, then fine, if that's our homework.
Yeah, that's your homework, and whoever's able to do it, I'm going to be very impressed. But that would be definitely the goal. But here, what I think you should do this week is take that set at the speed we just did it, because I thought that wasn't slow. Like it was kind of a medium. So and I thought the air was a really good speed. So practice along with that a bunch of times this week. You're going to pay attention to bowing on the Jenny Dang the Weaver. That up thing is very important. You got to do it as well. So down, up, dig it up, down, dig it down, down, up, dig it up, down. You see that? You got to get them in there. So in the second part, you could try a bit of longbow. That would definitely work, or a combo.
Only on the second ending. I've got a little bit of longbow in the second ending.
It's perfect for
It's
longbow.
sort of on the first ending, but it's like it's got a quarter note, right? So you
Yeah,
kind of have to imagine that it's 2/8 notes kind of thing.
that's what I basically do. That's a good way to do it. Anyway, so that's your homework. Practice this set, and we'll work on both the Crossing the Minch and the set next week. And maybe I'll kind of try to find a jig that's going to be good practice for something as well. Okay? Yes.
Okay, good enough.
I looked up the recording, and Natalie McMaster takes that into this jig called The Castle by Sean Ryan.
Oh yeah, the Castle by Sean Ryan.
I don't know. Is that like a Cape Breton jig, or
No,
is that?
It's not, but it's a very. I'll play it. It's a very popular Irish tune. Sean Ryan was a great tune composer. I play a lot of his tunes, and every one of them are good. He became very well known, and this jig, in fact, became known as Sean Ryan's. And I'll play it for you. That's the Castle. We can learn it. We should. It's a great tune.
So if we were to look that tune up on the session, do we look it up as the Castle?
You know what?
Or
I'm going to
Sean
go right
Ryan's?
now. Oh, where'd you get that? Oh.
Whoops!
Lisa.
I got it off the session. Sorry, I got so excited and pushed the wrong button. So
I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll go on the session.org right now and I'll send you a good version, what I call the cleanest dirty shirt. Okay? Because the session.org is full of dirty shirts. Well, I'll find the cleanest one and send it to you. Okay, we'll work on it next time. Great suggestion, Lisa. See you guys. Thanks for the short one. I'm going to get better now.
Okay, take care.